Right, this is a bit of advice for when you're given a battery drill and a battery but no charger. Now we're talking specifically here about nickel cadmium or nickel metal hydride, not particularly lithium. And I know a lot of battery drills now are lithium based and they have special chargers because lithium batteries can be rather cantankerous. But that's not to say that these NiCads aren't either. Anyway, there's various problems with all sorts of batteries where you have a series of cells in series. So we're going to go through that, and we're going to go through a method of rectifying it or a method of charging a tired battery so you can get good service out of it. So let's zoom in. So a drill and a battery. First of all, what we need to do is stick the multimeter on DC volts. Luckily these ones are marked, but you need to know which is the positive and which is the negative terminal. And if you see there's a negative and it goes 19.5. Okay, so we put it the other way around, 19.5. Okay, that's the positive, and you need to mark that. You need to be fully aware of that. Now, a lot of these batteries, they have 3 terminals. Okay, both that one and that one are negative. So you go there and there. But if you go between there and there, there's nothing. So that's a negative as well. You just got to bear that in mind. But if you've got a charger that's got auto switch off, if that tab isn't there, the charger won't work. It has to have a connection to there. And as you see in there, hopefully, there's 3 connections. There's a problem with all these sorts of chargers. I'm going to talk about it in a while. So how are we going to charge this up? Well, if we haven't got the correct charger, which I don't like anyway, we can use something like this, which is a plug-in power supply. So we'll just zoom in. So if you can see here, 22 volts, and then you've got a straight line, a load of dots. That means it's DC. So up here it's 230 to 240 volts in. It's a plug-in power supply. The output 22 volts. That's a 19 volt. No, it's not. That's an 18 volt battery. But you need more volts than that to charge it up. It will all become clear in a while. And then the polarity, the dot in the middle shows the middle of the plug. But I've cut the plug off and marked which is the positive. So to continue, so we got a main supply just there, and there's the power supply. So I'm just going to work my way through, find out where everything is. I've got this partially set up already, so let's disconnect some stuff. So what we're about to do is particularly relevant to nickel cadmium batteries, like these here. This is the matrix out one of these, or nickel metal hydride, which looks very similar. Now, lithium based batteries are more powerful but more cantankerous. Having said that, these are, and those are gonna let you down if you abuse them. But lithium batteries, they don't want to be charged above a certain voltage, and they don't want to be discharged below a certain voltage. But normally they have some electronics on them to stop them going outside their parameters. But you can never tell whether they've got them or not, especially in a drill pack. So this is for nickel cadmium and nickel metal hydride primarily. So what we do, we take the power supply, and I've got the ends of the cables away from each other, so we plug it in. That says 22 volts on there. Now most of these are unregulated, so let's just have a look. Can we see the voltmeter? Yes, that's the negative. Click that on there. This is the positive, and that's, let's put it on the 200. 29.4 volts. As you see, unregulated. So don't expect these to do what they say on the label, but they will power things, because as soon as you put a load on, it pulls the voltage down. So we've got a battery here. Okay. Now this is one that I charged up. I put together out of various cells that had voltage in them. So, and it was sort of charged up, but it's been left for 2 weeks to see what happened, because it didn't feel as if it didn't have the grunt, didn't have the couldn't supply the current. And as you can see there, 6.2 volts, so it's gone down from 19 to 6.2. So that is ideal for now. You can take it apart and you can find out which cells have gone as self-discharged and take them out and keep the rest. But we're not talking about that at the moment. What we're talking about is charging this up. Now the positive, okay, if you take a big crocodile clip and you put it between the positive and this notch here, or at the back or something like that, as long as it doesn't connect with any negative, we need a crocodile clip. I'll just go and get one. Okay. So what we need to do is we need to check the flow of current. Okay. So we're going to change this to DC amps. And as Big Clive says, never leave it in this setting when you've switched it off. Okay? Or else you'll end up picking it up, putting straight across the battery and blowing your meter up. So always return the positive to the volts and ohms. Always. If you set that up as a basic rule, you won't go too far wrong. Now, I've got a resistor here, but I know a lot of people, resistors, you won't have them kicking about. So I'm going to take the resistor out, and what we've got instead is 2 brake light bulbs out of a car in series. Now this provides a resistance, so it reduces the current flow, and that's an important thing. Now that's on the positive side, so that goes there. Then the negative, hang on, I haven't got the meter attached. Positive goes to the positive side of the meter. The negative comes to there. Now some of these meters, these leads, I've had a bit of a hard time in the past, so we might take a minute or two to get things working. So we want another big crocodile clip. I'll hide that bit out of the way so it doesn't confuse things. Quite a good way of connecting that. Yeah, there we go. We're now charging at, can't really see it, 0.6, so 600 milliamps. Okay, that is not too bad, but if you want to leave this on for quite a long time, just so that it brings all the individual cells up without charging, without overcharging the ones that are reasonably charged, because when you get a battery it's had a bit of a hard life, all the cells will have a different level of charge, and if you use one of these, then what happens is that the ones that are fairly well charged will charge up and overcharge, and the ones that are nearly flat will start to charge up, but their voltage will rise quickly rather than being charged up, and then this switches off, so therefore you think the battery's charged and it's actually not. Half of the cells are only a quarter charged, so it goes flat quickly. So again, one of the main things about these NiCads and nickel metal hydrides is when they start to show that they're going flat, don't keep pushing it. Anyway, we've got this resistor here, and if I can read it, 4.7 ohms, which is quite low. I'm going to put that in circuit. Where am I going to put that in circuit? Somewhere sensible where you can see it. Here. I'm going to clip that on there and just dab that on there. And now we're on 20 milliamps. Well, we could leave that on there for days if you wanted to. 20 milliamps, and of course as this battery charges up, the current's going to go down. So you could leave it on for 24 hours at such a low current, or if you're of a nervous disposition, switch it off at night and start again, and that could bring those cells that are low back into service. So what we've got is several resistances in series to cut the current down, and we can use an off-the-shelf plug-in power supply that will do. Now it's useful to understand what the labels say, so we'll just have a look at a few other power supplies. So this one's safety isolating transformer, 24 volts, but that is AC out. So if you were needed to use this one, you'd have to put a rectifier on the output of it. And there's a rectifier. You've got opposites are AC in, and then the other opposites are DC positive and negative out. So quite easy to use. You've got to look, get your best glasses on for the labels, tell you which is which. So what else have we got? Come on, focus. DC 12 volt. Well, you see that might give up to 16 volts out, but as soon as you start putting a load on it, output current will go down. Having said that, I use one of these to charge a 14 volt battery drill. Works really well, and you don't have to remember to switch it off, because as the battery volts goes up, the charge current goes down to the point where it won't do any harm. You have to monitor these things obviously when you first use them. There you go, that's an AC adapter, so you're thinking, oh, that's AC output, but can we get it to focus? Focus, you. It's 13.5 volts out, but it's a straight line and a series of dots, which means DC. And also below that, next to the CE mark, you've got positive and negative on the plug. That's the output plug, so therefore you know it's DC. And again, this will work at, again, 14, 15, 16 volts, something like that. You have to experiment, but the putting a resistor of whatever form, 12 volt light bulbs off a car seem to work really well, and if your current's too high, then just put 3 in instead of 2, or use a different wattage bulb, like for instance a 5 watt side light bulb, something like that. Yeah. Then you could charge your batteries without A, forgetting, and B, them getting hot because you're overcharging them, and C, it brings up those low cells. Now we're just going to have a look at a battery pack that, in fact we'll look at the battery pack in that pack there that was charged up and self-discharged. So here we go. Now the main thing is they can get a bit tight in here. There is a cell in there, but you don't want to A, raunch on things, but also B, you don't want to short things out. So just a gentle, remembering positive, negative, negative. There we go. Got to bear in mind this one's been apart before. Take the clips off and the springy things, and on these ones the clips go like that, and then that drops in like that. Okay, normally they're sort of glued in, or there's some sticky on down there that holds them in, so you have to be you have to persuade them. There we go. I have a box of stuff somewhere. Normally you've got things like this in the bottom, like that, and that is attached to the battery pack. So let's have a look. Now then, what did I forget to do? Because you know, if you're on there and you stick it on volts, you've got a dead short. Let's just see if I can. That's not bad. Doesn't matter which way round. We're on and we're on. Yeah. That's virtually nothing. That's virtually nothing. Again, that's a good one. 1.27. That's a good one. So when I put this together, I thought they were good, but I was wrong. Anything that is has dropped its voltage all by itself. Just take it out. So effectively, there's a good one. Virtually all of these cells are duff. See that one at 0.94, it's self-discharged because I did charge this up real long and slow. So most of the cells in this are absolutely duff. So what I wanted to do was to show you a little representation of this thing about how a cell can confuse one of these automatic chargers. Now this is showing 0.16 of a volt. So what we have here is the 22 volt power supply, and the positive goes through two indicator bulbs, then through this analog 1 amp meter, then through the resistor, and there is the positive, and then the negative goes straight through. So that's the positive end, that's the negative end. See what happens? Putting loads of current into there. These are 1.5 amp or 1500 milliamp cells. Now that was showing less than 2 volts. Giving it about 30 seconds or so. That'll do. Let's see what the... Can you see that? Yeah. 1.4. Okay, so it shows 1.4 volts, but it's still dead flat. So that can confuse one of those automatic chargers, because it goes, oh, they're all 1.4, switch off. That's as flat as a flat thing. So before we get involved in any other deranged nonsense, see there how I've soldered those connections onto the top of those cells. I just wanted to show you how I do this. The thing is, you want a lot of heat in the soldering iron so you can solder quickly. You don't want a low powered soldering iron that will just transfer heat into the battery. So let's just have a look at what's going on. So what I use is something like this. It's quite heavy duty, and some plumber's solder with some plumber's flux. So you get it good and hot. Just zoom in there a bit. Get it good and hot, and it just melts things like that. Can you see that melted? Okay, so let's just have a look at this soldering. I've got a series of cells here. Alright, the first question is, how do you remove these connections here? Well, it's quite easy. If you think about the old-fashioned corned beef tin where you used to roll. So what I've got here is a pair of snipe nose pliers, and effectively you just roll that off like that. And you've got to be careful because these connections are really incredibly sharp. So let's just see that again. You just roll it off. Okay. Now I'm just going to clean that up because there'll be a nasty horrible spike on there. That's it. Let's remove this other one. So you put that on there like that and just roll it. And there's a sharp bit there. Now then, I'm just going to point out that, let's see if I can find, here we go. The negative is all the way through to there, and that's the positive. So there's not a great deal of isolation between positive and negative. So you don't want solder or bits of wires to go down in that gap. Some batteries, they have a plastic insert in there, but these are just paper, which is not really that good. Yeah, but so you need to just solder the top. Put a bit of flux on there. And there we go. So the flux cleaned it, and that's it. And now you can solder to that. So that is tinned the terminal. And let's just do the other side. Put a bit of flux on there. There we go. Hopefully that makes sense. Now, if you watched all the way to the end of this video, here's the bit of further nonsense. Last week I was involved in a postmodernist, existentialist art happening. And you're going, what is he talking about? Well, I said there was some serious nonsense coming on. I changed the oil in my gearbox. Why was it postmodernist? Because people don't do that sort of thing anymore. Why was it an art form? Because it was having an interaction with the rest of the system. And why was it existentialist? The question being is it important? And does it make a difference?